Hi, this is Darryl Johnson. I'm the Chief Instructor of Maximum Impact Martial Arts. Today I want to talk about something that's a real big misunderstanding in the martial arts industry, and that is the difference between fighting and self-defense or self-protection. One of the conflicts I have is a lot of my friends and people that I train with are fighters, either full contact mixed martial arts, kickboxers, or something of that nature, and there's a big confusion about okay, fighting is self-defense and mixed martial arts is self-defense, and now there's a lot of crossover. It really boils down to this. If the combat situation is mutual, two people wanting to exchange words and throw blows in a parking lot, two guys with big egos or two girls with big egos that want to just see who's the tougher person, that's a fight. Now, self-defense implies that one of the parties, at least one of the parties, doesn't want to engage in any kind of combat. Either they're surprised or they don't want the altercation, and this is where self-protection comes in. And the thing with self-protection or self-defense is it's often done in a situation where the attacker or the aggressor is at a huge advantage. Either they're have the element of surprise, they're much larger, they're much stronger, and just by the virtue of the fact they're more aggressive, that's an attribute that's really advantageous in combat, whether it's hand-to-hand or using weapons or whatever else might come about that. So the thing I have a challenge with sometimes is people who are trained fighters or people who've done karate or martial arts or taekwondo. They often think that, well, I've done martial arts, I know self-defense. Well, not really. You've learned a segment of it. When we do our Krav Maga classes, we do things that are kicks and punches and knees and elbows, and we do the ground fighting and escapes. But we also do these things assuming that the person that's executing the techniques is at a disadvantage. They're attacked by multiple attackers, somebody who's larger, stronger, maybe even more skilled, and it often has the element of surprise or just the element of aggressiveness. They want to hurt this person or victimize them in some way. Also, fighting doesn't take into account the adrenaline stress that comes when you're caught off guard, or you're not in the mood to fight, or you don't really want to exchange blows. The adrenaline stress that comes with that kind of a situation is very unique. And yes, fighting involves adrenaline, but in a fight, you have the understanding that conflict is about to take place. Like in mixed martial arts or kickboxing, there's somebody standing across the cage or ring from you, and they intend to do everything they can to hurt you. Even if you're looking at more of the karate tag type, the point sparring, it's still the same thing. There's adrenaline. You don't want to look bad. You want to win your match, and there's a chance you might get hurt, but you are aware of that. And you're usually paired up with somebody who's equivalent in experience or size, or technical ability, depending on the different combat sport you might be in. So self-defense has none of that. There's no rules, there's no regulations, there's no referee, there's no timeouts, there's no rounds. And that sounds cliche. Oh, street fighting is anything goes. Well, that's absolutely true. If you're attacked by somebody larger and stronger, there's no reason you can't get a weapon to equalize it. They may have a weapon. There may be two or three of them. So there's a very different mentality in training self-defense than there is in training fighting. There is a lot of overlap. There's a lot of things that are similar. There's the exhaustion factor, the fatigue factor, the technical factor, the striking, the grappling. But really, at the end of the day, self-defense and fighting are two very, very different ideals, or two different entities, if you will. So it's important that when you train self-protection, that you're doing things that put you under a similar kind of situation you might find in real life, with vision that's not strong. Maybe your hearing is impaired because you're in a nightclub, or you're distracted, you're putting your groceries in your car, you're attending to a child. Those are the kind of things that a predator is going to look for. They don't want to fight, they want an easy victim. So your confidence, your posture, your body language, your tone of voice, your awareness, and of course, your ability to protect yourself physically, those are all factors that play into a good self-defense training regime. Again, if you are a full contact fighter, I'm not trying to offend you. I mean, I train MMA at my school. I train Krav Maga at my school. I think they're both great programs. They're different. They're very, very different. So training for fighting does not equal training for self-protection. And just like self-protection doesn't mean training for fighting. One of the critiques that people have about Krav Maga, for example, is, well, a cage fighter could beat them. Well, sure, in a cage fight or anything else where there's an advantage of size or skill. But that's not what Krav Maga trains for. Just like, cage fighting doesn't train you for a guy with a tire iron in a back alley, or a gun, or, a knife. It's an unfair comparison. It's a totally different kind of training. Anyway, that's my little rant on that, but I really want to educate people on this. Over the years, I really have seen a lot of people who have a real misconception about fighting and self-protection. This is one of the critiques I have about a lot of traditional martial arts, is, they'll teach the fighting skills, the kicks, the punches, the blocks, but the way they do the self-defense is often extremely sterile and without the ability to really challenge the students in a way to make them be aware of handling the problems under stress, or when they're surprised, or with a really serious threat. A lot of schools never get to that level where the students are being challenged, and they really get that adrenaline dump. They don't work on the verbal de-escalations. The whole, not coming too aggressive, not coming too passive. There's a middle ground where you can, hold your own and possibly just de-escalate before you ever get to the physical stuff. My hope is that any of the students I train never have to use physical self-defense to protect themselves. That's my hope and that's my goal. But I want to make sure that if they have to take that route, they've been prepared the best that I can do for them. I don't want them to go, well, we did this move a couple times in class, and so now I have it. That's not it. Just like I wouldn't take a cage fighter and go, well, we did this guard pass a few times, so yeah, you're ready to do it. It'll work, no problem. It doesn't work that way. It's repetition. It's understanding the different concepts, and it's really putting it into practice when you train. And you have to train it. You can't do self-defense course once and then 5 years later go, well, yeah, I still got it the same. It doesn't work that way, whether it's physical or the mental stuff. You got to, it's like CPR. CPR is pretty simple by comparison, but you still got to refresh it. You got to make sure you know the procedures and the protocol, and it may change from time to time. Self-defense changes from time to time. There's techniques that are people are seeing in self-protection situations now that they didn't see 10, 20 years ago. So it's a living thing. Anyway, so if you have any questions, shoot me an email. Drop me a line, whatever you got to do. Hope you're having a good day. I hope maybe you learned something from this, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.